Hey, this is Justin with DayTradeTheMarkets.com on February 8th. Thought I'd do a little bit longer term view than I normally do, switch it up a little bit. The reason being that this market's at a pretty major decision point, at least for the intermediate or swing trading term. Could be setting up for a major move if it goes one way or the other. So I wanted to kind of look at it from a slightly longer term view. Right here, this is a daily chart, and I'll look at some other charts as well. But you can see just a real quick recap. Back in August, there was big news out of China. The market sold off like gangbusters, if you recall that. And most of the rest of 2015 made its way, kind of grinded its way higher and took out all that selling that came in August. However, we had a hard time doing any business above there. Okay, we tested it a couple times and couldn't really do anything. Then at the beginning of 2016, so right about in here, as I'm sure you're well aware, we've had quite the sell-off in the market. Here's an unclosed selling gap. Here's another unclosed selling gap. And we made it all the way back down here in about half a month, all the way back down to the low back in August. Okay, but then I think this was on the 20th, January 20th, and you can check a video. We have videos on the site on this day. You could check, but we tested below there and had a major rally off of those lows. Okay, the market actually gave us a really incredible reversal signal. Again, you can go check out that video as well. But just a really good show of buying that came in, and you can see that we've rallied, some 120 points since that time. Now, we opened today with a selling gap down and sold off pretty hard early in the day. And once again, as we got toward these levels where really good buying came in on the 20th and back in August, you can see really good buying came back in again. So what does that mean for the long run? Well, it's telling us a couple of things. Number one, for whatever reason, we've got a lot of really good buying that's come in here around, let's just call it the 1815 to 1820 area. Okay, really good buying came in there. Really good buying came in on the 20th, and really good buying came in again the last half of today, and I'll show you that as well. This is an area of really strong buying, in other words. We would expect that to act as support. At the same time, we've got this selling gap that we would expect to act as resistance. So, you know what, let's look at this on a market profile chart. Basically, this is just a 30-minute chart that you can scrunch up to look at where the volume is happening. Again, here is the reaction we had longer term on the 20th. You can see really good sell-off. Buyers came in hard. Okay, we took it up there 120 points or so, and since then we've off and on been selling our way off. Friday was a pretty good down day. We opened with a selling gap, lower today. We closed that a bit. You can see we came down here around that 1820 area, and the buyers really stepped in and left, again, this selling gap. So what does that mean? It means that this area of really good buying from the 20th of January, as well as back in August, which is this purple line, is really good support. This should be really good resistance. Which side's going to win the battle? Okay, if the buyers can come in overnight or the next day or two and push through this selling gap and start to do some business up here, that tells us that this low from back in August is still pretty solid. If, on the other hand, we can't get through this gap and the market makes its way back down and takes out today's low and gets back down below that 1350, that could be really bad news longer term, and I frankly would expect a pretty good sell-off if we could breach those levels. So just something to look at. If we zoom in here on the, let me just bring over normally I look at a 2-minute, but normally I look at a 1 minute, I've got a 2-minute up here. I've just got the aggression bars on here, and you can see early on we had some pretty good selling that came in. The high of that held nicely, we would expect, made new lows. But then off of the low, the first time we got down here and made lows, you can see some pretty good buying came in, and actually we protected that area a little bit later. Couldn't make it all the way up to the new high. We actually made new lows, but we didn't make any new lows on really good selling aggression. That's a little bit odd. We typically would be making new lows on really good selling aggression. Instead, basically, again, toward the low of the day, we get this really good buying aggression bar. This time, we power through. We make it all the way up and make new highs of the day and eat into that gap that it shown since the beginning of the day. Some selling started to come in. But again, you can see, very strange, on new lows you would expect really good selling. That wasn't happening, and instead we got really good buying, and then we rallied some 25, 30 points here off of these lows. So again, what's that setting up? It's setting up just what we were talking about here on the profile. We've got a battle between Let me clean this up a little bit. We've got a battle here between this selling gap and basically this really good area of buying. We'll call it from 1820 to 1810. Okay, if you want to look at it like this. Really good area of buying in there. So which side's going to win? Are we going to test there and find selling? Are we going to test there and buyers punch through there? Are we going to test here and find more buying? Or are we going to test here and fire our way through? If these buyers that have come in both in August and in January really hard, and even today off of today's lows, if they get taken out, that's going to be a pretty tight situation for them, and that could lead to a pretty good sell-off going forward. So I just wanted to kind of talk about it from a little bit longer term perspective. Be aware of those two levels heading into tomorrow. I think it'll give us a pretty good roadmap for the market going forward. Take care and let us know if you have any questions.